This is the opening scene, Bill. You need to think of something funny. Say something funny. Anything, just like a one-liner, something that can just lead into the episode. Something really funny. Don't mess it up, Bill. Don't mess it up. I know. There's a lot of pressure on you. Just say anything. Hello, welcome to Bill Making Stuff, episode 24. Last week's episode was a bit of a weird one, so I wanted to get back to basics and I wanted to scratch build something. So that's what I did. I filmed it too, which is handy for you lot. Otherwise I'd just be telling you about it. So I need a hand around the workshop, and I can't actually fit another human being in here. So yeah, I need a helping hands. One of those little clipper things that you use to hold things. Sometimes when I'm gluing something or painting something, or I need to keep some bits together to stick for a long time, I need a pair of helping hands. And I actually bought some really cheap broken helping hands off of Amazon, and I want to make them a bit more interesting, just to make them more aesthetically pleasing. Aesthetically pleasing. Aesthetically, whatever, more robot-y. By the way, this is a sponsored video. Someone actually decided to sponsor my videos. I know. But anyway, let's start building, shall we? Good old scratch build. You know, I could actually do with that title plate right about now. Yeah, this one, you know. So if any of you are wondering what helping hands are, they're basically these things, just little crocodile clips on the end of articulated arms that you can use to hold things, or you solder, or you stick things together. I got these second hand off of Amazon. They must have been opened and sent back, but they were cheap. So I thought this build would be a perfect opportunity to use one of my LED book lights. I've got several of these. As anyone who's watched the Metroid collaboration video with Stutton Studio will know. That's all I want to say about that. So this contact lens solution bottle is going to be the main body of the build. And yeah, this is that liquid stuff you use to clean contact lenses. So I'm told. I mean, I don't wear glasses. I don't wear glasses. So the skilled crafter would probably cut little holes to stick these arms into the side of the bottle, but I just decided to put a couple of slices in there and just jam them in. But my thinking was, you know, if they're really hard to get in, they're going to be really hard to get out. Like your dad in that nightclub that time, do you remember? It was so embarrassing. So I'm going to be honest with you, at this point I didn't really have a plan. I was just kind of hacking at this bottle and just figuring out as I went along. You know, the usual plan. So I wanted the light to be green, because, you know, green light's much cooler than just normal book reading light. I wanted it to be green like the Borg in Star Wars, you know. Yeah, they're my favourite baddies in Star Wars. And yeah, I use this green gel, but you could just use green acetate or some green sweet wrappers if you have them. Yeah, it'll work. LEDs don't really get that hot, so it's not too bad. So once the light was nice and green, I thought I'd just jam it in like I did the arms, because, you know, that's like a method I use, I guess. So I got a set of these plastic pots from the pound shop. They're all different sizes, but this little one, I was thinking, like, what would you stick in there? I mean, really, like 2 beans, maybe 3 peas, a very small Brussels sprout, 4 peanuts. I mean, what would you stick? That's stupid. I mean, come on, really. So here we are. Here's the sponsors of this episode. They're paying for some of this episode. Some of it. About that much of it. Just there. This corner. Just that bottom corner of the video. Anyway, Skillshare is an online learning community where millions come together to take the next step in their creative journey, with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people on topics including illustration, design, photography, video, freelancing. So a course in particular that I liked was the low budget filmmaking. Now, you know, I like to make stuff, but I also like to make films about making stuff. You can always brush up with those filmmaking skills, especially on a low budget, with what sponsors are paying for videos these days. What I really liked about Skillshare was that I could watch the class uninterrupted. There were no adverts just jammed in there. It's always good to add a few more strings to your bow. I believe that's an expression. So the first 1,000 people that click on the link below get a free 1-month trial on Skillshare. So, you know, no harm, no foul. Go try it out. And that's it. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. Let's get on with the build. So this helping hands is going to be man-handled all the time, just like your dad, and it needs to be really secure so the arms don't fall off or break off or the whole thing just falls apart. So I'm going to use epoxy resin to hold it all together. This 2-part epoxy resin I got from the pound shop. It's I have no idea if it's any good, but you just mix 1 to 1 and stir it up and let's see how it goes. I mean, it should be a lot stronger than super glue, at least. Now, every video I strive to be a professional crafter, so I decided to pour the whole lot of resin just all over the whole thing. Just pour it all over the arms and the light and just hope it all sticks together. And it did. So, you know, there you go. Jam method and the pouring method. And I can manhandle this baby all day. So along with my methods, what would a build video be without a redundant step shown in the video, like me putting blue tack over the hole? I mean, my thinking was that I could block up the hole and then, you know, if I spray it or, you know, there won't be stuff getting in there and the green light will shine through when I remove it later on. It was completely redundant, you know, but I kept it in the video because I like to show redundant steps, otherwise the video would be 2 minutes long. Oh, also I sanded the thing like crazy because I wanted paint to stick, especially to these arms that are going to be moved around all the time. But I sanded the whole thing like crazy, so yeah, always sand your plastics. See what I mean about a redundant step? I just stuck a big plastic part over the front anyway. But live and learn, or just, you know, live or exist, basically. So like with all my scratch builds, I like to sand the plastic surfaces and use super glue mixed with baking powder. It creates quite a strong bond and it seems to stick. So I needed something to act as the head, and what better to act as the head than the bit of head I cut off. I just trimmed it to a different shape and had it kind of sloping backwards because I didn't want that bottle look, you know, the classic bottle look. Also, it ended up looking a bit like a robot cap. But anyway, so I wanted to create some legs for the robot, but then I thought legs aren't really stable enough, and especially if it's holding stuff, I want it to be quite stable on the table. So I made some tank tracks using this old Dio stick. So I created a robot anus. I mean, that's quite a crude word, but basically a hole where its bottom is to put the USB wire through. And I filled that little pot up with clay because I wanted it to be quite weighted at the bottom. So I used some more 2-part epoxy to stick the top half to the bottom half because I wanted this thing to be solid. It's going to be handled a lot. It needs to be solid. I got to be honest, this build was a bit of a pain because these arms just kept getting in the way, and I figured, oh, I can take these crocodile clips out, so I did. So for the wheels, I wanted to use these yo-yo halves. They're basically little cheap plastic yo-yos I got from the party section of a supermarket. And I use these for wheels quite a lot. They're pretty good. And let's just see if these work. Brilliant. Do you see what I mean about these arms? They were always in the way. Always in the way. So I figured after my last episode when I talked about my favourite junk to use, I would use all my favourite bits of junk in this build because, you know, it's a good way of demonstrating why I like them. And I'm going to use these clothes pegs to put as rims around the tank tracks. So what am I telling you? You can just see it. It's right there, look. These bloody arms. Here we are, hair colours, another one of my favourite pieces of junk to use. You can find these in your local pound shop or your dad's weekend bag. Wherever you can get them, they're really good to use in builds like this. You know, while I'm doing this, I might as well tell you about my Discord channel. Some of you are already there. It's an open invite now. It should be on the link below. You can join my Discord, and there's already hundreds of us there talking about stuff we make, you know, annoying each other with memes and just basically being passive aggressive. But if you like that kind of thing, then please click on the link and join the Discord. And here is a freezer bag clip. This is a star-studded show today, I'll tell you. So when I'm scratch building and I have no particular design, I'm not copying anything or I don't really have any ideas, I just tend to use every little bit of plastic that's on my table, like these little bits of the freezer bag clips I cut off. I mean, they can fit right here and it just makes it look more detailed. It looks like they should go there. The classic kids bottle lid with the holes around the edges so kids don't choke, but they make really good turbines and your kids don't choke on them. So. And I thought I'd use the epoxy resin lids because they were like on my table. It's my favourite thing about scratch building. You just keep adding things until it looks like something. It's kind of like the way I draw. I just keep scratching at a piece of paper until it looks like something. It's the same with scratch building. Just keep adding. So sometimes when I've been really naughty, I watch Narb Makes, which is another YouTube channel, and he uses these foam sheets to create textures for flooring and things like that with a heat gun. So I didn't have a roller handy. I used a hair roller to try and create some texture, and look at that, it actually kind of works. So then I made a mad scramble around the workshop to look for other textures, and it worked out pretty well. Look at that. So I would usually use plastic card for these little plates, and plastic card is expensive, and this foam stuff is dirt cheap, and it also flexes around whatever you're sticking it to, so it works out really well. I think this may be my new method for making metal plates. What's your method for making metal plates? Is that just a really weird question? Very specific. Please comment down below. Not specifically about metal plates, but you know. So I often talk about how seasonal pound shops are, and you need to go and forage the right stuff at the right time. And now's a good time to go and forage your garden wire. All the gardening stuff is out, so go out there and pick your own. No idea where I got this wire from. It's some kind of weird shiny plastic wire, but it's a different gauge, and I like to mix the gauges of wire because it adds more detail. The more detail, the more you're distracted from the actual build itself. Another rule of scratch building. So as Greg Greeble often said on the set of Star Crash, it's Greeble time. So this is one of the most fun parts of a build for me, just basically taking these little plastic shapes and just sticking them all over your build. Just adding detail, like a little weird star there, or some tokens from a Connect 4 game there, and some there. And you know, just stick little bits onto the bigger bits. That is the definition of Greeble, I think. So I wanted to make like a valve on top of its head so a human could get in there and clean it out, I guess. So I do my old valve technique. If that's what it's called, a valve, one of those twisty handles that you'd get on a submarine. Look, one of those. So now it's time to get a bit fancy pants with this remoldable mold stuff. You may know it as blue stuff, but this stuff is more like pearly white stuff, but I'm trying to lay off the dad jokes. Basically, you can stick this stuff in hot water and it softens, and you make like a putty mold out of it, and it can harden, and you can stick it back in hot water and remold it again. So I figured I could make a mold of these rhinestones because I'm running low. Well, I've got to be honest with you, I thought the time-lapse was going to be more interesting than that, but oh well. So let me take this opportunity to thank the person who bought me this putty stuff off of my Amazon wishlist, which happens to be just below this video. Smooth. And that's a perfect mold. I'm really happy with this stuff. I'm going to be making molds of everything. First things come to mind, custard creams, but I think of other stuff. So to be doubly fancy pants, I'm going to use this UV resin that I had lying around to make some transparent hemisphere rhinestones. So using a UV torch, you can make some transparent hemisphere rhinestones, and find out what I use those for later. Nice! So it's a bolt that time to get riveting. Bill, you're pathetic. And that's about it for the greebling. Let's move these annoying arms out of the way and get ready for some priming porn. Oh yeah. Wah, wah. Oh, hello, you're still here. Could you possibly click on that subscribe button? Someone said it was a bit sticky. It wasn't going, it wasn't clicking. Just give it a go and see if it works for me, would you, please? Cheers. Thanks. Also, the like button's a bit funny, so maybe give that one a few clicks. Actually, give it 3 clicks. Yeah, 3 clicks just to make sure. And yeah, check the Patreon links working below, because I've had some people saying, I spelt it wrong. I mean, maybe I should learn how to copy and paste, but computers and older people. And yeah, that should do it. Thanks for helping me out. I mean, really helpful. Thanks. Bye. Actually, stay here because I'm still building. So just. So I never thought I'd say this, but I'm actually running out of rusty coloured paint. I mean, I'm sure I could mix my own. It basically is just brown and red, but yeah, dark days. So basically, commentating over painting is pretty boring, so I'm just going to talk about other things, like did you enjoy the music for this episode? Do you like the music in all my episodes? If you do like the music, please join Patreon and you can download all the soundtracks you like. I've got a backlog of all my episode soundtracks on there, so yeah, fill your ear holes. What else can I talk about? Every month I have a build challenge with my patrons. We had the Dio Stick challenge, you may remember from a few episodes ago. This month we're building a, I'm not going to say what it is, but it begins with B and it has OTS at the end. But you'll see that soon. And we've got a challenge for next month already ongoing. So if you'd like to get in on that one, please join Patreon. Basically just join Patreon. That's the message of the day, if you want. So one thing I do like doing with the painting phase is stencils, because it adds a bit of, it's like greebling with paint, isn't it? I guess adding little details in your paintwork, I guess. I have so much to say about painting, it's sometimes hard to get out. So here we have some black and burnt umber oil paint, and I want to make a dirty brown wash using white spirit, the usual. So every time when I apply this wash, I always think I'm just going to stick it in the little nooks and the crannies, the little crevices and stuff to make it look darker, but then I just end up painting the whole thing in it because it kind of works like that. I guess that's how a wash works. Also, you can use these makeup pads on sticks to wipe away the excess. So now it's time to put the crocodile clips back in its arms, and I can show you why I made those transparent hemisphere rhinestones. I don't like saying hemisphere, it sounds weird. Technically that's what they're called, but half spherical sounds better. Anyway. So here it is. Here's my Helping Hands robot. I'm really proud of the eyes I made using that resin, and I'm really happy with the foam metal plates. They look really good. If you make something like this and you'd like me to see it, take a picture of it on an instant camera and get it developed in the shop, and then put it in an envelope and send it to the address down below. Or you could probably share it on Instagram. I mean, it's up to you, completely up to you. I'm going to be honest with you. Just before I shot this segment to camera, I sat on it and I actually broke a little bit of it, and it needs gluing just under here. It's not a problem, easy fix. But yeah, don't sit on them. So I hope you enjoyed that episode. Next week's episode is going to be a special one. It's going to involve my patrons again. But they're going to be nice, because I said to them, I said, look, if you don't stop being horrible to me, I'm going to stop taking your money. I mean, I didn't really think it through. Anyway, that's next week. And for now, let's just look at some glamour shots. And yeah, I'm probably just going to say some useless crap. Yeah, you're probably right, Bill. Thank you, patrons. I really enjoy the community we have over on Patreon. You're actually quite nice people. Makes me mistrust you. That's just the way I was raised. But yeah, thank you. If you'd like to be a patron, please click on the link below. And here is the helping hands. I quite like it. You know, it's much more interesting than the original helping hands thing I had. What do you think? Do you like it? Does it matter? Probably not. I'll probably see you next week anyway.